Hello you guys, this is a short video of how to write an introduction. I will explain you how to be masters in the art of writing a good and interesting introduction. You can pause this video when you want, and I have made it so that I will talk and then you will get to do first an activity where you have to think a little bit, and then afterwards I want you guys to pause the video and write individually, and then afterwards you meet up with your group. But I will take you through it all in this video. In this video, the two main points that we will be doing is I will give you a specific model to follow when writing an introduction. I want you guys to use this model when you write your coming essays. Point number two, I will also give you an exercise you are to do, and then afterwards you have to share it with your group. Okay, an introduction. What is an introduction? An introduction is the first paragraph in your essay, and it has one main purpose. That is to prepare the reader for your essay. It serves to spark as a spark of interest. Down here we see a picture of a delicious appetizer. When you arrive at a party and they serve you this, you think, oh, I really want to stay at this party because it's so delicious. So it serves as an appetizer. You want to eat more. You might be a little bit hungry, but after eating this, you definitely want to eat more. So consider your introduction as a way of inviting your reader in. You want to keep their interest. You can do this by doing many different things. Here are some ideas. You can open up with a bold statement, saying something a little bit crazy, a little bit out there. You can also ask a rhetorical question. That's a question that doesn't necessarily have an answer. You can also bring up an interesting comparison, comparing two elements that might not be very similar, for example. You can also share a quote that you find interesting, or you can think of something else which you think might capture the interest of the reader. It's up to you. These are just ideas. Whatever you do, do not make an introduction containing a list of everything you are to do in the essay. I say this because many students actually start out in their introduction by saying, in this essay, I will first comment on the setting. Then I will discuss the themes, and finally I will put it into perspective, blah, 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 blah. But do not make a list of everything that you will do in the essay. It's not very interesting to read. If you're at that party, you want to leave straight away. Okay, next slide. How to structure an introduction. Here is a specific model that you guys can use when writing an introduction. The first element is the hook. The hook is like when you go fishing. The hook is what catches the fish. The hook is your first chance of catching the interest of the reader. So the hook covers the opening sentence, the first sentence, in which you attract the reader's attention. Again, that can be a rhetorical question, a bold statement, or some of the elements from the previous slide. The next element, which comes right after the hook, is called focusing. This is usually the first part of the introduction that you have, and often it comes directly from your brainstorming. Here you provide the reader with general facts or background to your essay, to your text, and this is what leads us from your hook towards your thesis statement. The information should be about 4 or 5 sentences that help us to understand the focus of your topic. The final part of your introduction is called the thesis statement. This is a sentence that contains the main idea or central theme of the whole essay. So the thesis statement is what you believe is central to the text that you are writing about. One central idea that you come up with. Again, it's also a very good idea to introduce the title of the text, or you must introduce the title of the text and the year of publication. I would do this in the focusing. Sometimes it can also appear in the thesis statement, but definitely in between focusing and thesis statement. This is where you would put these very important pieces of information. Next slide. Here we have an example of an introduction. Let me just read it out loud to you guys. I realize that there is one spelling mistake. I'm sorry I did not correct it, but I will read it out loud to you anyways. Okay, it goes like this. Who would not want to please their parents and their grandparents? Especially if pleasing them involved taking up a respected profession that you have spent years preparing for at a university. But what if that profession is not the one that you yourself have always dreamt of? What if your family's career ambitions on your behalf conflict with your own dreams and desires? Such a conflict is the theme of Maggie Robb's short story Automatic Upgrade, 2011. The short story deals with a young Indian doctor's insecurity and his struggle to liberate himself from the influence of older members of his family. Now, it's your turn. You have to define the hook, the focusing, the thesis statement of this introduction. So, have a look at it. Where do we find the hook? Where do we find the focusing? Where do we find the thesis statement? If you need to, then pause the video because I will go to the next slide where I reveal the answers. Here are the answers. The hook is the first sentence. Who would not want to please their parents and their grandparents? Here, we are really trying to catch the interest of the reader. The next part is the focusing, especially if pleasing them involved taking up a respected profession, etc. Here we have a series of rhetorical questions. And the final part is the thesis statement, where it narrows down the central theme. Such a conflict is the theme of Maggie Robb's short story, Automatic Upgrade. The short story deals with a young Indian doctor's insecurity and his struggle, blah, 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 blah. Here we see an example of where the thesis statement also contains the writer and the year of publication. I would put this again in the focusing or the thesis statement as long as you have it. It's important to mention these important pieces of information. Yes. Right. You guys, now you have to be active. Now you have to brainstorm. For the next 4 minutes, you start by doing an individual brainstorming on the text to Cuddle Amy. So you guys have to write down all keywords that come to mind. What does this text make you think of? Did it provoke you? Did it make you think, oh, this one time I had this experience? What ideas or what concepts come to your mind? Pause the video, set a timer on your phone for 4 minutes. Do this now. Now you have done a brainstorm. Now have a look at it. What do you make of it? What is it about? Is there something that's important, that's unimportant? Well, and here it says discuss with a neighbor. This is because, it's an old PowerPoint. I used it in a previous class. But consider, can you remove something from this? Is there something central? Is there one idea that you see again in your brainstorming that it might be important to you? Point number 3 is that you select a focus for your introduction. How do you want to write this introduction? Do you want to ask a rhetorical question? Do you want to bring up an anecdote? Do you want to draw a scene? Or how do you want to do it? Now, you pause this video and you write your own introduction for the next 10 minutes. So, write for non-stop 10 minutes. It does not have to be perfect. Writing is a process. After you have written, then you meet up with your group back in your virtual meeting room. And here, what I want you guys to do is compare your introduction, discuss ideas. If you have written an introduction, which I hope that you have in these last 10 minutes, then read them out loud to each other. In what ways are they different? Which introduction succeeds best in capturing the reader's attention? Why? Give each other feedback. Remember, feedback always should have a positive element, but there should also be room for improvement. So you could improve your introduction by adding this, or I feel like your introduction lacks this element. Remember, feedback sandwich. So something positive, something to improve, or something positive again. And remember that the point is that you guys share and exchange ideas. Remember, you can always write to me on Lectio if you have any questions. I am in a virtual teachers conference today, so I could not meet up with you guys. But write me if you have any questions, okay? Have fun working.